Hi, this video is on how to tell time and it's part 1. In this video we're going to be dealing with hours. Alright, so check this out kids. If we have a clock here, and this is normally how you're going to see it. And clocks are from 1 all the way over here to 12. And this hand right here, we call that the hour hand, and that's the small red hand. And this longer hand, the blue one, we call it the minute hand. Now, on this clock right here, you'll notice that this red hand is pointing at the 1. And you'll notice that this blue hand is pointing at the 12. Now, when we see the hour hand, this one right here, pointing at a number, in this case it's pointing at number 1, we call this 1. And then when you look over here, you're going to follow the minute hand all the way up and see what it's pointing to. Right now it's pointing at the 12. So whenever you have the minute hand, and in this one right here, and it's pointing at the 12, we call that o'clock. So if you wanted to tell the time on this clock, you would look at you'd look first at the hour hand, which is pointing at the 1, and then you'd look at the minute hand and it's pointing at the 12. So we would say this is 1, and then you'd follow this over to here to the 12, and since we know that when the minute hand is pointing at the 12, we call that a clock. So this would be 1 o'clock. Now let's look at this next one. Here you'll notice that the hour hand, this red hand, the short one, is pointing at the 2. And again you'll notice that this blue hand is pointing at the 12. So this we would say is 2 o'clock. And that's because the short one, the red one, is pointing at the 2, and the longer one is pointing at the 12. So let's scroll down a bit. And over here, you'll notice on this one that the short red hand, and that's called the hour hand, is pointing at the 3, and this longer blue hand, the minute hand, is pointing at the 12. And this is 3 o'clock. And this is 3 o'clock because the hour hand, the red hand, is pointing at the 3, and the longer hand, the minute hand, is pointing at the 12. So this is 3 o'clock. And so now we're going to move over to this one, and you'll look at this one. And you have to pay attention to where this is pointing, and the short red hand, the hour hand, is pointing at the 4. So this is 4, and since the blue one is pointing at the 12, we're going to call this 4 o'clock. Now, in this next one, I want you to look at it and figure out what time they're telling. So look at this one. What time do you see here? Where is this pointing at? It's pointing at the 5. And if you look here, where is this pointing at? It's pointing again at the 12. So this would be 5 o'clock. So look at this one. Now, can you tell me what time this is? Here's a hint. It's pointing right at this one. And this is pointing over here. So did you figure out what it is? Did you say 6 o'clock? If you did, you're correct and great job. Because the shorthand, the hour hand, is pointing at the 6, and the longer blue hand is pointing at the 12. So this would be 6 o'clock. So again, try to answer this one. See if you can look at this one and figure out what time it is. Did you say 7 o'clock? If you did, great job. Now look at this one, and again, try to figure out what time it is. And if you said 8 o'clock, then you're right, and good job. So I think at this point you should have a pretty good grasp on how to tell the hour and the minute, so long as this is pointing at the 12. Because this one, this blue hand, the minute hand, is pointing at the 12, which again is, you say o'clock. And this one right here is pointing at 8, so this would be 8 o'clock. That's how you would use that. Now, you might have noticed that this red hand was, first it was pointing at the 1, then it was pointing at the 2, then it was pointing at the 3, now it's pointing right about here, right at the 4, and that the red hand was actually moving this way. And we call that moving clockwise. And this hour hand will always move in this direction. Just like that. It'll just keep spinning around and around. And the blue hand, the minute hand, also does the same thing. It spins in a clockwise fashion. So it goes around this way. They always go around this way. They never go this way. They never spin this way. So they only spin this way. And we call that clockwise. And this again, just to recap, is the hour hand, and this one is the minute hand. So a good way to practice this is to go whenever you're walking around your house. Just look at the clock and see where the shorter hand is. Sometimes they're not always going to be red. Sometimes they might be a different color, like black or blue or gray. But when you look around, look at it, and just to practice, see where this one is pointing at. Sometimes it'll be pointing at a number, and if it's pointing at the 4, then you can, and this longer hand, the minute hand, is pointing at the 12. You can say, "Oh look, Mom, it's 4 o'clock," and you can impress her that way. All right, so check out the next video. The next video is going to explain to you how the minute hand works. So I hope you enjoyed the video, and good luck.